Headlines of VTV News. Prime Minister discusses 9 important issues for agriculture and rural development. Global diplomats reflect on Vietnam's remarkable achievements in 2024. And later on in our world news, UN Secretary General calls for building a peaceful future in 2025.
Broadcasting from Hanoi, the capital of Vietnam. VTV News starts right now.
Hello to our viewers. This is VTV News coming live to you from Hanoi. Today is the last day of December 2024. On behalf of VTV International, we wish you a happy new year with peace, health, and love. And here is the top news of the hour. Party General Secretary Tô Lâm, head of the Central Steering Committee on Prevention and Combat of Corruption, Waste and Negativity, chaired the committee's 27th meeting. The meeting focused on reviewing activities in 2024. The steering committee unanimously concluded that despite numerous challenges, anti-corruption efforts have been implemented vigorously throughout the year, achieving significant breakthroughs at both central and local levels. Looking ahead to 2025, Party General Secretary Tô Lâm emphasized the need to evaluate the anti-corruption program since its inception to inform the 14th National Party Congress documents. He called for comprehensive preventive measures, including power control mechanisms, asset declarations, technological applications, and fostering a culture of integrity. On December the 31st, Prime Minister Phạm Minh Chính chaired the dialogue conference with Vietnamese farmers, with more than 4,300 delegates participating across 63 locations. He addressed and clarified farmers' concerns, while highlighting the agriculture sector's significant contributions to the country's achievements in 2024. Agricultural, forestry, and fishery exports reached a record $62.5 billion, with a trade surplus of nearly $18 billion, representing 72% of the economy's total trade surplus. The Prime Minister promoted 3 strategic breakthroughs to develop ecological agriculture, modernize the countryside, and support civilized farming. He emphasized 9 key issues, including removing institutional and policy bottlenecks, improving planning processes, maximizing land efficiency, enhancing capital access and insurance for farmers, and expanding export markets through brand development, geographical indications, and improved product designs and packaging. Looking back at 2024, despite numerous challenges, Vietnam's economy has shown consistent recovery, with growth improving month over month and quarter over quarter. The country's GDP growth is estimated to exceed 7% this year, placing it among the fastest growing economies in both the region and globally. Vietnam remains an attractive destination for foreign direct investment.
Despite global fluctuations and the severe damage caused by Typhoon Yagi, Vietnam's 2024 GDP growth is expected to exceed 7%, surpassing the target set by the National Assembly. The macroeconomy remains stable, with inflation staying below 4% and exports continue to be a key growth driver. In 2024, total import-export turnover is forecast to reach a record-breaking $800 billion.
Business activities of domestic enterprises have recovered. The export turnover is 5.6% higher than the average and 7.6% higher than that of foreign invested enterprises.
In 2024, Vietnam attracted over $32 billion in foreign direct investments and welcomed many major technology companies such as Nvidia, Google, Apple, and Foxconn, among others. Notably, State budget revenue reached over 78 million US dollars. The Purchasing Managers Index for Vietnam's manufacturing sector remains above the 50-point threshold, indicating that orders from Vietnam remain stable.
We have recently upgraded our target for Vietnam based on our recent ADO publication from 6.2% to 6.6% for 2025. So I think the key would be really policy measures, in terms of there are lots of reforms underway.
Vietnam to be again possibly the fastest growing economy in East Asia. Now there are some downside risks associated with this positive outlook. First, there is a risk that economic activity in the main trade partners of Vietnam, China, United States, Europe, might be lower than what we are conscious.
Vietnam's agricultural sector reached a new milestone in 2024, with export values surpassing 62.5 billion US dollars. This achievement significantly contributed to the country's overall economic growth for the year.
Localities across the country are accelerating efforts to streamline the administrative apparatus. In Ho Chi Minh City, 80 wards are merging to create 41 new wards. These new wards are now actively reorganizing to establish stable working environments.
For nearly 2 months, every Saturday and Sunday, the civil servants of Ward 5 in District 5, Ho Chi Minh City, have been busy cleaning and organizing to stabilize their new working environment. The reason for carrying out the relocation on weekends is to ensure that the merger does not affect the administrative services provided to the public at the ward.
As of now, the basic tasks have been fully completed. During this process, with the close guidance from the leadership, everyone has shown great teamwork. Everyone has supported each other.
Ward 5 and Ward 6 of District 5 merged to form a new Ward 5. Due to changes in the number of staff, the new Ward 5 People's Committee office must be renovated and upgraded. The new People's Committee office will temporarily be located nearby to ensure convenience for the residents.
Regarding administrative procedures, we have made assignments and provided training for the civil servants. We also designated a location for receiving residents.
In the wards undergoing restructuring in other districts, officials are also busy moving documents, equipment, and rearranging the offices. The leadership of Ho Chi Minh City emphasized that the new administrative apparatus must be more efficient, ensuring smooth operations to better serve the people and businesses.
Hanoi has claimed the top spot among 63 provinces and centrally run cities in the Provincial Innovation Index, or PII 2024, released by the Ministry of Science and Technology on December the 30th. Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh City, and Hai Phong maintain their positions as the country's 3 leading localities. The top 10 rankings include Ho Chi Minh City, Hai Phong, Bà Rịa Vũng Tàu, Đà Nẵng, Quảng Ninh, Cần Thơ, Bình Dương, Thái Nguyên, and Bắc Giang. Cao Bằng remains at the bottom, ranked 63rd. The index evaluates localities based on human capital, research and development, market development, knowledge products, and technological innovation. This assessment serves as the basis for government and local leaders to develop policies implementing the Politburo's resolution on breakthroughs in science and technology development, innovation, and national digital transformation. Amid global uncertainties, 2024 has been a year of remarkable milestones for Vietnam. From impressive economic growth and bold strides in diplomacy to notable achievements in culture and sustainable development, these accomplishments have strengthened Vietnam's potential position and international standing. Join us as diplomats share their reflections on Vietnam's significant progress throughout the year.
2024 has been a breakthrough year for Vietnam's diplomacy. In just 1 year, Vietnam elevated its relationships to comprehensive strategic partnership with Australia, France, and Malaysia. while strengthening its strategic ties with 6 other key partners. This dynamic expansion and deepening of bilateral and multilateral relations have built a solid and proactive foreign policy foundation, further cementing Vietnam's position and influence in the international arena.
So many during my time here as ambassador. Clearly the biggest was the upgrade of our relations to the comprehensive strategic partnership level in March this year. So it's not just political, it's not just symbolic, it's also very practical, and it engages all of our interests from science to innovation to economic cooperation, education. Each visit had its own achievements, and each one of those is very valuable to us.
The comprehensive strategic partnership between France and Vietnam is built on 3 key pillars: partnership for sovereignty, sustainable development, and innovation. These priorities, outlined in the joint statement, will continue to guide and strengthen bilateral cooperation in 2025 and beyond. France is committed to leveraging its global influence, including its role as a permanent member of the United Nations Security Council, to support Vietnam's growth and international standing.
In 2024, Vietnam sustained its strong growth momentum, with GDP reaching 6.8 to 7.0%, placing it among the fastest-growing economies in both the region and the world. Foreign direct investment (FDI) surpassed $40 billion USD, reflecting Vietnam's attractive investment environment and progressive economic policies. Leading global corporations in high technology, manufacturing, and renewable energy continue to select Vietnam as a key strategic destination, further solidifying the country's role as an emerging economic powerhouse.
We are seeing a rate of around 7%. That is the kind of growth that is going to keep Vietnam on the path to becoming a high-income economy by 2045. So that's a very strong result. I think it also represents a very strong result in some turbulent economic times. Prime Minister Pham Minh Ching's commitment at COP26 to net zero by 2050, and I think we have seen over 2024 some important steps forward towards that. And at the latest National Assembly session, we have seen an excellent development of the electricity law. And this is going to be a very important building block, adding to the other elements of the system, such as Power Development Plan 8 and its implementation plan, which really sets the direction for how we can help to transform the power sector in future.
Vietnam has made huge strides in recent decades in terms of its internal development, but it has also become a much more influential and active member of the global community. So both multilaterally within the UN, within ASEAN, as a contributor to regional stability, and in relationships with all of its neighbours, Vietnam is a more active and vocal player.
Well, first and foremost, I believe there is no doubt that it would be good for Vietnam if they can streamline their processes, bureaucratic processes, and probably also some of the other more economically inclined procedures to make sure that Vietnam becomes as efficient as it can be, both in attracting investors and ensuring stability for those investors. I believe that for the near future, the next 7 years will be still golden for Vietnam.
As Vietnam steps into 2025, heartfelt wishes and positive remarks from international diplomats reflect a nation brimming with confidence, ambition, and readiness for new breakthrough achievements. Backed by a solid foundation, unity, and determination, Vietnam is steadily cementing its position on the global stage, paving the way for an era of growth and sustainable development. And up next, let's check out the foreign exchange rate. Coming up next, Hanoi increases supply of OCOP products for Lunar New Year. and traditional culture promoted as pillar for cultural industry development. Food demand surges during each Tết holiday, especially for fresh and processed items. Purchasing power is expected to increase by 10% in 2024 compared to last year. In Hanoi, businesses have plans to boost Tết supplies by 7 to 25% compared to last year's holiday season. Businesses and cooperatives are actively sourcing and producing food items, vegetables, and fruits to meet peak consumer demand. Meanwhile, the Ho Chi Minh City Department of Industry and Trade has coordinated the establishment of 11,000 price control sales locations during this period. With the Lunar New Year less than a month away, OCOP producers are ramping up production to meet rising consumer demand. More on the following.
This cooperative produces 9 four-star OCOP pork products, including fresh meat, bones, and processed items. Based on forecasts showing higher consumer demand than last year, the cooperative is actively preparing sufficient supplies to meet these needs.
We've increased our pig herd by 20% compared to last year to meet market demand. For processed products, last year we prepared 10 tons, but this year supply has been doubled. Our focus now is on maintaining smooth production and ensuring safety standards.
In key vegetable growing areas of Hanoi, farmers are also accelerating production. Son's farm specializes in growing mustard greens, radishes, and tomatoes, all four-star OCOP certified products. His family is focusing on diligently tending to their vegetable plots to ensure adequate supply for the Lunar New Year.
Early in the morning, we water the vegetables, pick the yellow leaves, and check for pests to ensure everything is ready for the upcoming Lunar New Year. The farmers are very optimistic because the prices are better compared to previous years.
14 of our products received 4-star OCOP certification. The farmers are urgently harvesting the remaining crops and focusing on boosting care for the upcoming batch to prepare for the Lunar New Year. We expect to have 300 to 400 tons of vegetables per day to supply the market and serve Lunar New Year festivities.
Leading up to the Lunar New Year, Hanoi plans to increase its supply of OCOP products from local livestock farms and vegetable growing areas. These goods will be distributed through supermarkets and sales points across the city and other provinces nationwide.
As New Year 2025 approaches, countdown events across 10 provinces and cities are drawing increasing attention from tourists. In Lào Cai, visitors to Sapa can enjoy an art program in New Year's countdown starting at 8 p.m. on December 31st. Hanoi celebrations will take place at Dong Kinh Nghĩa Thục Square and the Hoàn Kiếm Lake Walking Street, where visitors can welcome the new year with families and friends. Additional countdown events will be held in Ninh Bình, Quảng Bình, Quảng Trị, Thừa Thiên Huế, Đà Nẵng, and Khánh Hòa. In Ho Chi Minh City, the countdown celebration will be hosted at Nguyễn Huệ Walking Street in District 1. Major cities, including Hanoi, Da Nang, and Ho Chi Minh City, will also feature fireworks displays. Starting January the 1st, 2025, all manufacturers and importers of electrical and electronic equipment must fulfill the responsibility of recycling products before disposal, according to the provisions of the law on environmental protection. This applies to old refrigerators, freezers, vending machines, fixed and mobile air conditioners, electric stoves, and induction cookers. Under the environmental protection law, manufacturers and importers can choose between two options: either organize the recycling of products and packaging themselves, or contribute financially to the Vietnam Environmental Protection Fund to support recycling efforts. Many cultural products and artistic programs have achieved tremendous success by celebrating traditional values and instilling national pride in young audiences. By thoughtfully drawing from traditional culture, new opportunities are emerging that strengthen the cultural industry.
Tens of thousands of people united in singing traditional songs and enthusiastically embraced ethnic music performances. What started as entertainment has evolved into a fresh perspective on cultural products, one that places national identity at its core.
Traditional art forms must remain true to their roots because they represent our identity. At the same time, this tradition must evolve, supported by the cultural industry, bringing new life to our cultural heritage.
Culture has become foundational to the success of many products, from music and films to digital content and video games. As a result, producers and entertainment companies are increasingly investing in projects that celebrate and showcase the nation's cultural identity.
When you make the audience love you, they end up loving everything you bring to them. Our focus in the new year will involve a lot of cultural values.
Since the 13th National Party Congress, a key goal has been developing a cultural industries and services by identifying and promoting Vietnamese cultural soft power. The strategy for cultural industry growth also focuses on expanding the nation's cultural identity globally.
For any country, soft power is a combination of its strengths in institutions, politics, diplomacy, and culture. When we seek to assert our position in global culture, we must be careful and take well-planned steps.
National pride has become a common thread woven through people's lives. Strengthened by professional, well-crafted cultural products, this enables Vietnamese values to spread effectively, serving as a robust pillar of national spirit for every individual.
Coming up next in our world news, UN Secretary General calls for building a peaceful future in 2025. And Moscow's New Year celebrations kicked off in mid-December with events across the city. Spanish police seized 7 tons of cocaine concealed in shipping containers on a farm in southern Spain. During the raid, authorities uncovered 2 underground storage containers specifically designed to hide the illegal cargo. In addition to the massive drug seizure, police also recovered 3 firearms, including an AK-47 assault rifle, as well as 2 stolen vehicles. In his New Year's message, UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres called for making 2025 a new beginning. He reflected on 2024 as a year defined by war, division, and discord, with conflict and climate change causing widespread suffering. However, the UN chief remained hopeful, pointing to activists championing progress, developing nations advocating for financial and climate justice, and scientists and innovators forging new paths for humanity. Times Square, New York has been illuminated for its final test ahead of the New Year's Eve countdown to 2025. Event organizers activated the lights and raised the massive 5.4-ton ball, which features more than 32,000 LED lit crystal panels. This dazzling orb can produce 16 million colors and countless patterns. To ensure a safe celebration, as the ball drops at midnight, New York State authorities have bolstered security by deploying additional police and National Guard personnel throughout Times Square. Meanwhile, Moscow's New Year celebrations kicked off in mid-December with events across the city celebrating history and tradition. These activities bring warmth to the cold Russian winter, attracting both locals and tourists alike.
In central Moscow, the streets are coming alive, with popular characters from Soviet-era films appearing in public spaces. These displays transport Muscovites and visitors back to the 1980s and 1990s, reviving cherished film scenes that were a cornerstone of Russian New Year traditions. Over the past 3 years, since the war in Ukraine began, New Year celebrations in Moscow have been more subdued. There are no fireworks or large-scale New Year's concerts. However, Red Square, with its festive lights and colorful Christmas markets, remains a top destination for visitors.
I just went shopping for some things for my family and stopped by to soak in the New Year atmosphere.
Every New Year is better than the last because we always have hope for the future, hope for good things for our country and for ourselves.
Moscow remains a popular destination for many Russians, as well as international tourists during the New Year holiday season. This time last year, the city welcomed over 2 million visitors.
And now let's take a look at the weather forecast. And that's it for this last English News Bulletin of 2024. On behalf of VTV International, we wish you a Happy New Year and thank you for being with us for the past year. See you again in 2025. Goodbye for now.